Good afternoon and welcome to our virtual career spotlight. My name is Lisa Kuntz-Samanuk and I am the Chinook School Division Industry Education Program Facilitator. Have you ever wondered what industries you might work in with a certificate or diploma in occupational health and safety? Maybe you're not even sure what exactly someone does working in OH&S. What training is needed and where would I get it? The presentation today will be sure to answer your questions and perhaps spark your interest in considering a career in this field. Our speaker, Lana Rhodes, will share about occupational health and safety, the precarious past, the positive present, and the flourishing future as a safety professional. In addition, she will explain more about the certificate and diploma programs in OH&S available through Great Plains College. On behalf of Chinook School Division and the Regina and District Industry Education Council, I am pleased to be able to have Lana with us here today. She is a program coordinator at Great Plains College based out of the Kindersley campus and is responsible for the skills and safety training, logistics, and operations that take place in the Kindersley, Rosetown, Biggar, Outlick, and Warman areas. Lana has lived and worked in Kindersley for the past 30 years and has been serving industry and client training needs on behalf of the college for the past 17 years. She is also responsible for the post-secondary programming in the areas of cybersecurity as well as occupational health and safety. Prior to her service at the college, Lana spent the early years of her career in radio as well as hotel management and event planning. Following her presentation, we will have a question and answer period. Feel free to share this video with others who may also be interested in a similar career. Please join me in welcoming Lana with us here today. Take it away, Lana.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm so happy to be here to talk about our programs that we offer in occupational health and safety. And so we've got two programs. One is the certificate in occupational health, safety, and environmental systems. And the other is the next level, which is the diploma in safety, health, and environmental management. So let's start off with a little bit of history, maybe some things you don't know already, is that work can be dangerous. So I don't know if people realize exactly just the fact that when you go to work, you might not be safe all the time. And so work is definitely dangerous, or can be. Some types of jobs come with higher risks than others, obviously. And injuries, though, can happen in almost any workplace. So here's some Canadian statistics for you. In 2022, there were approximately 350,000 people who made work injury claims in Canada where they had to take time off work. That's a lot, 350,000 people. And there were 993 workplace fatalities reported in that same year. So that's only 3 years ago when there was almost 1,000 people killed in workplace incidents. 18,131 of those people became disabled to some degree due to workplace injuries. And just over half of all reported workplace injuries were only minor, so 54%. So what kinds of workplace injuries are the most common, would you think? Just at a regular job or the average job? Well, slips, trips, and falls. Repetitive stress and overexertion injuries. Maybe being struck by or caught in moving machinery. Fire and explosion related injuries. So these are the most common workplace injuries that happen. Things were definitely bad, and they were bad in the past, as we'll see in a second. So in the 1970s, 4% of all workers reported a workplace injury. That to me is just crazy. And in 1985, nearly 5% of all workers reported a workplace injury. So when did Canada finally do something about the rate of workplace injuries? In 1986. Now, for me, that doesn't seem like very long ago, and maybe for you guys, it was long before you were born. But in 1986, under the Canada Labor Code, the regulations were, or some regulations were established that provided a comprehensive framework to eliminate workplace injuries. And so then came occupational health and safety. So what is occupational health and safety? Well, it's the practice of ensuring that people can go to work and not be injured in their work environment. And we do this by implementing processes and controls to help keep workers safe, because it is the law to ensure worker safety. So why is it important for companies to employ occupational health and safety professionals? Well, employers are generally experts in their area of business, but typically they're not experts in occupational health and safety as well. Now, they do have a duty to definitely have some knowledge of occupational health and safety, but in general, that is not their area of expertise. So depending on the environment in which people are working, especially jobs that have greater safety hazards, employers often need to find staff who specialize in workplace safety. So the penalties on employers are substantial when there's a workplace injury. So the more serious the injury, the more serious the penalty. And it's in an employer's best interest to have a healthy and safe workplace. So companies can easily go bankrupt and be stuck in legal battles for years, just in the process of figuring out if the employer did everything in their power to have prevented a serious injury or a death that occurred. So safety professionals are there in the workplace to conduct audits, to discover and evaluate workplace hazards and risks. They're there to develop and implement safety policies that address workplace hazards. They're there to monitor employees' actions to ensure that safety policies and procedures are actually followed. They're also there to promote a culture of safety among employees. They're there to monitor changes in occupational health and safety law and update processes and procedures as laws evolve. And they're there to investigate workplace incidents. They're also there to improve effectiveness of safety policies. And they're also there to write and submit reports, to ensure that ensuring that employees receive proper training and equipment according to what is required under the law for the jobs that they are doing. So that means that if you are using a hammer, this is way too general, but if you're using a hammer, that the employer is required to make sure that the employee is getting trained in how to use that and what the hazards are in using a hammer, let's say. Safety professionals are there to track training and recertification due dates. They're there to prepare for emergencies by organizing awareness programs and safety drills. They're there to track employee safety performance and overall company performance or company safety performance. And they're there to implement corrective actions when needed. They are responsible to implement and monitor policies around mental health and employee well-being, and also to assist any injured employees with access to the resources that are available for compensation, insurance, maybe getting the health care they need, and to track to getting back to work if that's possible. So the ultimate purpose of a safety professional is to help the employer maintain a safe and healthy work environment so that productivity is increased. And how we increase productivity is to reduce or eliminate workplace injuries and deaths. Why do workplace injuries still occur given all the controls that are in place to stop them? Well, here's some reasons. Human error. So we all make mistakes, and we're susceptible to accidentally doing something. Perhaps the improper use of equipment. Maybe they weren't trained properly, or maybe there was something in the work environment that posed a hazard that they didn't realize. Maybe the equipment or the tool they were using wasn't working properly, was faulty, or just being complacent. We're so used to something all the time that we take things for granted. So that's when injuries can happen. It's impossible to prevent 100% of all workplace injuries, but the goal is to make it as close to 100% as possible. So if this type of career sounds interesting to you, then we need to take a closer look at education in occupational health and safety for you to become a safety professional. So the very first level of education you would take would be to obtain a 1-year certificate in occupational health and safety. And so Great Plains College has partnered with the University of Fredericton to deliver an online certificate program in occupational health and safety since 2010, which is 5 years longer than the first in-person occupational health and safety program in Saskatchewan has existed. The University of Fredericton has been the national leader in post-secondary occupational health and safety education since 2006. So that seems like a long time ago already. They recognize that some people were already working in safety at the time, but they needed formal training. So they recognized that they needed to somehow get people trained in occupational health and safety while still working. So they developed a program that would allow people to continue working in the current job while simultaneously getting this education. And this program soon exploded across Canada. So not only did adults working in safety take this course, but also adults who wanted or needed to make a change in their career path were taking this course. And also people who had just freshly graduated from high school who wanted to do this as a career were taking this course. So the program became so popular all throughout Canada that they needed help with managing the recruitment and administration of new students. And so that's where we came along at Great Plains College. We were so impressed with the quality of their program that we agreed to enter into a partnership with University of Fredericton. So since 2010, we have assisted hundreds of students complete their occupational health and safety education through recruitment, student advising, and access to student loan funding. And we have also committed to providing scholarships to full-time students of our occupational health and safety program. So bonus. And so let's get into the occupational health and safety program specifically that we offer. And it's called the Certificate in Occupational Health, Safety, and Environmental Systems. And we call it the COSIS program. So think of psychosis, but just COSIS. So COSIS stands for, obviously, Certificate in Occupational Health, Safety, and Environmental Systems. That's how we get that acronym. COSIS is a program that can be completed, if we want to do it full time, it can be completed in 48 weeks. So that's shy of just 1 year. but it can also be completed part-time. And if you do it part-time, you can get it completed in as little as 22 months. So obviously that's just 2 months short of 2 years. Or you can do the program more on a casual basis, where you take a class whenever you have the time or money. But the one stipulation is that you have to have the entire program completed in 2.5 years. So the bonus of this program is that there are no textbooks to purchase. So all your resources are available from the UFred online library, and this eliminates a huge cost to students. Think of the cost of, well, you probably wouldn't know, but the cost of books every year for a regular university or college program is staggering. So that would be money that you are saving. You will need a computer with reliable internet. And based on the feedback that I've received from students is that you may want, well, you will want a printer and possibly a 3-hole punch and some binders if you wish to print out documents from the online library for future reference. And there's 13 courses in the program. You take them in order. So the cost of the program is $79.55. So that's $7,955. And once you start the program, each course has a very specific start date and end date. So each course within the program. And all of your coursework has to be done by the course's end date, or you fail that course. So there'll be lots of reading and assignments that require a lot of research and writing. And each course, even though it's online, it has its own real instructor. Your instructor grades your assignments and provides feedback for you. And your instructor is also there for you to ask questions or get clarification on an assignment and what's expected. Now, there's no classroom type instruction that you have to attend each day, but you do have to do the work on your own time. So as long as you do that work within the parameters of the start date and the end date, you'll be fine. But you have to put in the hours in order to complete your courses on time. So having those deadlines, it provides structure for students. Online learning is one of those things where some people thrive and some people don't thrive as much. However, those deadlines and that structure provides online learning to be a lot easier for people that may not otherwise be keen to an online program. So most people need that structure and they need accountability to stay motivated. And so that's what this program offers. So just to name some course names of the classes that you would be taking. So we've got Intro to OH&S, Organizational Development and Behavior, Leadership, Communication, Incident Investigation and Response, Intro to the Principles of Safety Training, Safety Management Systems, Hazard Identification, Risk Assessment and Controls, the Law and Ethics, Industrial Occupational Hygiene. So when it comes to that, industrial occupational hygiene, that is more so like, when someone's sitting at their desk and you're looking at a computer screen, you want to make sure that the computer screen is at a place where you're not having to yank your neck all the time, and that your chair and the supports on your chair work well, and that it's more those types of things that mean industrial and occupational hygiene. Just to give you a little bit of a overview of what that actually means. You also take a course in fire management, Environmental management. So in this case, when we talk about environment, we're not talking about like the outdoor environment. I mean, even though work can be outdoors, in this case, environmental management talks about the general work environment. So that can be an office environment, that can be a specific job site. That is what is called the environmental or environment in environmental management. The fundamentals of auditing. So audit it's a safety audit. And then there's also a guided practicum. Now, when we talk about a practicum, I don't know why they've named it this, but a guided practicum in this case is not a traditional practicum where you go work for a company for free for a few weeks and get a feel for it and whatnot. In this case, the guided practicum is actually a major research assignment. So just so you are aware, that the guided practicum is not really a practicum like we traditionally think it is. So the one thing is that all of the courses are very industry neutral. So what does that mean? It means that what you learn in this program is applicable to every industry. So it doesn't lean towards oil and gas or agriculture or healthcare or things like that. It covers all industries in a very general way so that you can work in different industries such as oil and gas, construction, mining and exploration, transportation, forestry, film and television, government, agriculture, manufacturing, healthcare. There's all sorts of this is just a small sampling of the kinds of industries in which occupational health and safety professionals are needed. So when you successfully complete this certificate program, it'll prepare you for an entry-level position working as a safety professional. So to get into the nuts and bolts of that, the average wage of safety professionals across Canada is $82,000 per year. That's not too bad. However, entry-level employment with this certificate will start you at approximately, this is the Canadian average, is $63,000 per year. That's not terrible either. And experienced safety professionals can earn up to $120,000 a year. So now we're talking pretty decent money. But how do you get to those higher earnings of the salary range? Well, you gain experience. So that's a major thing. After you've been employed in the field of safety for a few years, you'll have a way better working knowledge of your vocation. And this will let you apply then for higher level positions with greater responsibility. And when you have greater responsibility, you generally earn more money. Or the other thing, the other thing that you can do is take the diploma program. So the diploma program is an additional 8 courses, and these courses are higher level courses that you can take anytime after completing the certificate program. This higher level education will prepare you for that greater responsibility and that higher earnings potential. So the diploma program is known as the SHEM program, which stands for Safety, Health, and Environmental Management. So again, when we talk environmental, we're talking about the work environment. We're not talking about the outdoors or nature. So the diploma program consists of 6 mandatory courses. So those are courses that you absolutely have to take no matter what. And then you get to choose 2 electives from a list of several different electives. And it just depends on what your interest is or what kind of job you really want to land after you take the diploma program. So again, this program is also fully online, and it can be completed at a full-time pace, a part-time pace, or casually, just like the COSIS program. If you're taking it casually, you're usually doing it when time and money allows. Pardon me. So students completing this program at a full-time pace can complete it in as little as 8 to 10 months. Students doing the diploma program at a part-time pace can complete the program anywhere between 13 and 48 months. That's quite a stretch, but it kind of depends on how many courses you're doing at one time, and if you're taking any breaks in between the courses. So that's why there's such a variance there. Now, the difference though is that some of the classes in the diploma program do require textbooks. Typically, it's either 2 textbooks or 3 textbooks, and it kind of depends on which electives you take. So there are a few textbooks to purchase for the diploma program. And then the other difference between the certificate and the diploma program is that there's live online classes 1 evening per week. Now, you don't have to attend the live sessions, even though it's recommended that you do. It always is. But if you cannot make it, they can be watched later if you can't attend. So the cost of the diploma program has a little bit of a range. And that range is dependent on the electives you choose. There's a couple of electives that are just a tiny bit more expensive than a couple of the others. So for the diploma program, you're looking at, about $5,200, $5,300 to $5,400. So there is not a big difference, but there is a little bit of a difference. Think I already said that. The classes in the diploma program are definitely more challenging than the certificate program courses. So as it's higher level in the diploma program, you can expect that it'll be a lot different, difficulty wise. Now, not that it's super, super difficult. It's just, you will notice the difference for sure. But this will prepare you for more challenging work and higher pay, as I said before. There's 6 mandatory courses, 2 electives, and obviously the courses in this program go 1 step further than the certificate program. So let's take a look at the mandatory courses. So again, organizational dynamics, very similar to a course that was in the COSIS program, although this takes it to a little bit of the next level. Ergonomic foundations. So remember earlier when I was talking about how you have your screen in a certain area, so that you're not cranking your neck and causing you a neck injury, that type of thing. So occupational hygiene is kind of very similar to ergonomics, and so that's ergonomic foundations. Psychosocial hazards, environmental management, so that's managing your the work environment, risk assessment, intro to disability management, and here's the electives. Here's just the next level of disability management, the essential program elements. There's another elective called Advanced Ergonomics. Heard this course in particular is very difficult. Effective communication and interviewing. That's actually a really interesting course to take. I know that a lot of our students do take this one and they like it. And modern training systems. So this just gives you a little bit of information out there about how training can be done in a more modern way, or what those modern training systems are. And there's also a course that's very specific on Canadian OHS law. So if you're adding the diploma onto your OH&S education, it will definitely set you on a track for ultimate success as a safety professional. So why online? Why do we do this online instead of having a regular face-to-face program? Well, it's nothing like the online learning you might have experienced during COVID times in 2020. Those were unprecedented times, and it's not like that. This is specifically designed in a very specific way. So the platform that's used for these programs was especially made for online learning in the post-secondary education space. And it's a very user-friendly program, and it's definitely designed for online learning at a post-secondary level. And the other thing is that you as a student save thousands of dollars in tuition and in books compared to other post-secondary OH&S programs that are out there that may be in person. And the other advantage is that you can potentially hold a job and then study on your off time. That's an option as well. Or you can potentially live at home for an extra year, again, saving thousands. So there's lots of really interesting, not interesting, but really some important things for someone to really think about in terms of weighing going online or doing face-to-face post-secondary training. So you keep hearing that the cost of living has kind of created an environment where it'll be difficult for Gen Zers to own homes and get ahead in life. And as a result, you can do something about it in this case, and you can give yourself the gift of a huge head start by keeping your education costs low and your career value high. So if you're interested in applying, well, you should contact me to receive a complete information package by email. So you can call any of our campus locations in Swift Current, in Kindersley, in Warman. Whichever campus you call, they will be able to direct your call directly to me. And then what I would do is I would maybe have a chat with you if you have some more questions about the program. And then I also provide a complete information package by email as well for you so that you can really get into the nitty-gritty of what to expect in the program. And then if you decide that this program is for you, so either of these programs, if you decide that either of them is for you, you just fill out our online application available on our website. And most of all, we would love to have you join us. Thank you.
Awesome. That was awesome, Lana. I like how you started your time with us today to give us a background to the importance of jobs or careers that focus on workplace safety. And it was very interesting to hear that prior to 1986, which is way before students and even maybe some of their parents' time, that a career in safety or occupational health and safety didn't even exist before then. So it gives us context that the world of careers is changing rapidly. It seems like there are more and more opportunities for a career as a safety professional across industries. Where do students who take your courses or program usually end up working? Like you talked about oil and gas and the film industry, healthcare and that, but does there tend to be some key industries that students tend to go towards after they graduate?
There's, I would say, probably three main ones, and that it kind of depends on where you're living, right? So
Yeah.
because the program is online, we can have students from literally everywhere in the country contact us to register. So I'm going to talk Saskatchewan specifically for this particular question. Definitely the oil and gas industry, it would be probably number one. And the second one in this province would be municipal government, and more so cities. So where there is a large base of employees, large number of employees, many departments, that type of thing. Generally, cities would have a team of occupational health and safety people and healthcare, so health regions definitely need or continually employ occupational health and safety professionals.
Yeah, that's interesting to know what industries, because those are, we would have thought of oil and gas and certainly healthcare, but I don't know if students think about cities and municipal government as much, but certainly just the nature of the departments and all of that, the structure and the number of employees for sure. And I think one of the things maybe even would be education, because education nowadays are large organizations, large divisions, and they all have occupational health and safety departments now. Yeah.
Right.
Um, what kinds of things can students do in high school, do you think, to explore if this is a career that they might be interested in?
Well, there's certain characteristics, I think, of people that might be a good fit for occupational health and safety. So definitely people that are more so that enjoy administrative skills, if that makes sense. So a large part of what a person will be doing is definitely maintaining records, writing reports, that type of thing. So you need to have some like for doing those kinds of things. I was the type of person that liked doing those things even in high school. So I knew that I wanted to do something more administrative. The other thing would be even just having an interest in investigations. You'll be doing, if there is any sort of event, dangerous occurrence or injury that happened, you have to do investigations and audits. And so getting down to the nitty-gritty of things, you definitely need that curiosity. You definitely need that attention to detail. And not everybody is that person. And specifically, you need to care about the safety of other people. You need to care for people. If you don't care for the safety of other people, then you might not be a good fit for this particular vocation. However, that definitely opens it up to a lot of people, because a lot of people do care and want their fellow workers to go home safe at the end of every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you said that some people come to this career while working and simultaneously take the formal education needing. So students could work in an industry, like not go into it right out of high school, but they could work in an industry and then at some point decide that they'd like to get into the safety side of this. And that's great to hear, because they may not know out of high school and they work in an industry like oil and gas and then realize, oh, I'd like to do safety. And they can do that. You also noted that high school students take the training. Some also do take it though, right out of high school. Can you
Absolutely.
tell me how many, how often you see this happening, or that they're taking it out of high school?
I would probably say that half of the students that come through Great Plains College would be straight out of high school. They and I don't know specifically what their reasonings are for that, meaning maybe it's a case where they want to save some money and want to do an online program that allows them to stay at home for another year before they really start off on a career. There could be various reasons for that, but because occupational health and safety professionals is a growing and a very rewarding vocation, there's definitely people out of high school that know that that's something that they might be interested in. They realize there's decent money to be made in the industry, and they want to go do that right away. So that's why we have about half of our students, I would say, fresh out of high school.
Good. It's nice to see the flexibility in how students can take the program. You talked about the different ways. From your experience, what seems to be the option that most people choose? Is there one, or it's just a variety of ways?
Well, there it's a little bit of both. I would say that the vast majority of our students are full-time students. And so the reason for that perhaps is that they want a student loan to get this education, and they may also want that scholarship, that entrance scholarship, which gives you $500 back on all the tuition that you pay of probably about 4 or 5 months into the program. If you've graduated from grade 12, if you take the program full time, and if you pay in for your entire program up front, which can be done with a student loan, then you would qualify for that $500 scholarship. So yes, that's
That seems like that would make sense, because it is very costly for education, especially when you're a student. Different when you're in a workplace, and that workplace, maybe you're in working for a city and you take more training. Oftentimes those workplaces have some kind of program where they pay for that for you. So, but a student right out of high school, you got to come up with the funds yourself.
right.
Yeah.
And because these programs are both student loan eligible,
Yeah.
they definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I would say that for students that pay completely on their own, those are more so our casual students, where they might have money for the first couple terms or courses at the very beginning, and then they just kind of keep enrolling in the courses as they continue to make money, either while they're working or saving up to pay for that next class, and so that allows them to do that.
Yeah. It's nice to see that flexibility.
Mhm.
Can students take some of these individual courses in the program while in high school, or does that happen at all?
I have not had that happen, to be honest. However, I don't think it would be like I'm quite certain that a person could take these courses while in high school. You definitely have to pay for them, and that 2.5 year maximum that you have to complete the program would still be applicable. So you have to keep in mind that even though you maybe take some of the courses while you're still in high school, you got to finish it up afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
one.
what I was thinking when I was asking you that question. I thought there's that 2.5 year window, but I know that there are some students who accelerate their learning and they take like advanced classes almost, where they begin some of their program while they're in grade 12, for instance, and then they're already up and running. And in the summer, when they graduate high school, they're continuing on with their education. So that seems like it might work in this case, but still within that 2.5 year window.
Right. And to be honest, high school students, I think, have somewhat of an advantage when taking this program, because you're already exercising those muscles of doing assignments and doing research and writing papers and that type of thing. So it's harder for people who may be my age, let's say, who, haven't been in any sort of school type setting in years and years and years. and suddenly they have to try to figure out how to do an assignment again. And so that's the challenge that comes with those that are maybe waiting and transitioning their career for whatever reasons at later times. So high school students certainly have the advantage because you're already in that mode. It's
They
easier,
would be excited to hear that.
it's easier to do it now, in some respects, while you still got it
Yeah,
before you lose it. But
yeah,
you can always get it back.
yeah.
So it's just a little bit harder if you need to transition later into a different career and want to choose this. But
You mentioned also that there's a guided practicum and that this is not a traditional practicum,
right.
right? But however, is there any opportunity for some hands-on or field experience for students while they're taking these courses?
They're not officially, no. And the reason for that is because it is an online program. So I might have one student from Calgary and another student from Oshawa, Ontario, and another student from Swift Current, and so and yes, there's no actual way to really get that hands-on experience through the program because everybody is just completely spread out. So
Yeah, but perhaps like in the research piece that they do, students could do something, if they're interested in the city, go find out about the safety, positions in the city or in oil and gas or whatever, and maybe do some volunteer stuff or find out a little bit
oh,
more
for sure,
local. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
You can
Um,
always get a hold of safety people in all sorts of companies, and they'll be happy to
yeah,
have some help, I'm sure.
yeah. How many people generally take the certificate program and then go on to the diploma program?
Oh, so part of that I can't answer. And the only reason why is because it may be that we haven't seen them yet, meaning some students and maybe 10%, I would say, of students go directly from the certificate program to the diploma program. So as I like, whoop, I'm done the one, now I'm going to do the other. Um, and so in total, I can't answer that question because there could be students out there that have finished the certificate program and have not yet contacted me, but in the future will contact me to do the diploma program. So it really depends on just the hierarchy of the company that you're working for or want to work for. So perhaps you're I'm just going to use oil and gas as an example. Perhaps you get a role in occupational health and safety in the oil and gas industry, and you've got your certificate program, but you just within the structure of that company, maybe just your experience that you're gaining as the years go by will be sufficient for you to keep getting raises or more responsibility, etc. Excuse me. So some students may find that their workplace may need that extra bit of education in order to get those jobs, and some may not. Or that might be a way for you to gain an advantage over some other people to get a promotion than other people at the same type of job.
Okay, I'm done with my questions. I just have a few thoughts. um, First of all, I want to thank you for explaining more about the online learning experience. I know this may have caused students in the past to stay away from online learning, as a result of bad experiences that people had during COVID. We weren't prepared at that time, and online learning experiences weren't the best. But since then, educational institutions and industries have learned a lot about the best ways to offer online education, particularly in the post-secondary world. And that also allows you to live in Oshawa, Ontario, or Halifax, Nova Scotia, and take a course that's offered in Kindersley, Saskatchewan. So you can take courses. So I appreciate you sharing that with students. On behalf of our students, I want to thank you for sharing more about this program with us today. It's a great program that will equip students to work in any industry or workplace across the country, which opens up many opportunities for those who obtain it. As a safety professional, individuals could work in oil and gas, like you said, in a few years. Maybe they decide they are fed up with that and they'd like to try healthcare, or they'd like to try even the film industry or something else, education, whatever. So their skills can be transferred to anything. They've got a broad range of skills. They just get experience from different industries. So I appreciate that. The work of safety professionals is vital to workplace safety. And it's much more than dealing with accidents or injuries. And I don't think before this, listening to this, that students would have known that. I certainly had some knowledge, but not all of what a safety professional would do. I challenge students to look at any business or industry that they're interested in and find out where the safety professionals are. Thanks again, Lana, for bringing this career to our students' attention.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.